Hello, fellow Econauts, and welcome back to our show. I'm here with my brother Ben, the Rocketman, and today we are talking about colonizing Mars. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey Simon, how's it going? Hey fellow Econauts. Yeah, so I think the topic today is quite exciting, and we will more or less stay with the facts, but also want to put some of our own ideas and our interpretations of the impact on humanity and economy on this.
Sounds good to me. You know, I like a little bit science fiction. Okay, first question. Why Mars, of all planets available to us in our solar system?
I think the answer is quite simple. It is the closest planet we have from to get from here. We have already done some discoveries. It's smaller than Earth, but comparable. It has an atmosphere which is not killing us instantly. We can't survive in it, but it's also not just acids or something like that. It's mostly made up of carbon. And it just makes sense. Also, we believe might have been life on Mars. So Mars is just a very good candidate to actually geoengineer the planet back into an habitable planet.
How far away is Mars from Earth?
Obviously, we could be sometimes the opposite side from Earth and Mars, and then we are very far away, or we can be on the same side. The quickest to get there, according to NASA, with our current equipment, meaning with chemical propulsion, is about 90 days to reach Mars with a rocket or with a spacecraft.
The next question that I would like to ask is why do you believe we have to become an interplanetary species?
Now you are opening a box of 1,000 things.
The Pandora's
um,
box opening right
yeah,
here.
Pandora's. No, it's not quite Pandora because we have good reasons, but there's also a looming problem. So there are theories why we haven't found other life so far in the universe. One of which is called the Great Filter. So every step of life has certain barriers, and when we overcome those barriers, that is a make or break decision. One of those barriers could be that an event which changes the planet on which that life is situated is changed so much that the life cannot sustain there anymore. An example, there is something called gamma rays. When a star, I think a supernova explodes or something, then there's a gamma ray coming in one direction. These are so strong, if anything is in the pathway, it just gets obliterated. So it's not existing anymore afterwards, which would be the strongest case. We wouldn't even see what happens because we are just gone. So it happens within like seconds. Other things, obviously, meteors can and asteroids can collide with our planet, causing floods and everything. We ourselves are not really treating our planet very nicely, so we can be our own cause of be it through nuclear wars, but also through climate change, to destroy the basics we need to survive on this planet. So there's many things that can lead to us being on one planet, leading to our demise as a species, but also as life from Earth itself. If we even assume, let's say, the Great Filter is not a thing and there's actually no other life in the universe other than us, then we have to do everything possible to prevent that life, which has formed on our planet, will stop existing. So therefore, we have to become interplanetary, if not even interstellar at some point, to populate the universe with life. So, that's a very philosophical point. The other side, and that comes back to the question I often get asked when I give talks, why we should go to space in the first place. Uh, Everybody's then coming up with, oh, we have the GPS system and, we need that to navigate and communication. That's boring. The interesting part is, if you look at the universe, Earth is a tiny speck of dust floating around. Every time when we solve a problem, we solve a problem in that space of a very tiny solution realm. so we don't find a solution to bigger problems. When we find solutions to bigger problems, that includes Earth. So coming back now to Mars after all this talk, in order to get to Mars, we have to figure out how to have a rocket fully filled so that we have enough propellant. How can we take enough resources with us? How can we grow crops on Mars? How can we make a sustainable base on Mars? How can we geoengineer the atmosphere of Mars? There's many things which, when we solve those, we can directly apply them to Earth and, grow crops in the desert without many resources involved, which would solve lots of problems on Earth as well. We might be able to geoengineer our atmosphere back to state that our climate is sustainable and stable. So, I think that for me, that's the biggest motivation.
One of our biggest urges as humans is also to explore, right?
Yes, yes,
And and picking on what you just said before, when we look at the Ice Age, we had a hospitable environment and had to overcome that by going to another place to make sure that our species survives. We did exploration to go to other shores because we wanted to know what's over the horizon. We had to find other resources to, improve our life. So all those factors that you just mentioned are actually things that we have already done in the past. The only difference is now that we are actually doing that with another planet in within our solar system, right? And if you really think about it, 3 months, 90 days, what you mentioned, it's not that far away, especially if we have the ability to build like a highway, something that we have mentioned in other episodes before. A highway to the moon, from the moon, a highway to Mars would allow us to exchange goods and services on an interplanetary base, right?
yes, absolutely. Don't forget the whole Artemis mission is, although we are aiming for the moon now, and China's aiming for the moon as well. By 2030, they want to send the first people on the moon, the first Chinese astronauts, I think. The moon is not the end goal. The moon is the next step to go deep space. Because as we mentioned in many episodes before, we have the tyranny of the rocket equation, as long as we use chemical propulsion, which is, in my eyes, the best form to leave our Earth surface. But then we always expend 90% of fuel just to reach our low Earth orbit. So now, if we can refuel on the moon, then we can go further. We have way more propellant with us. Way more propellant doesn't mean only that we can accelerate more often and maneuver more often, or even come back in the worst case scenario if something goes wrong. It also means we have energy at the place where we are. If we take hydrogen and oxygen with us as a propellant, then we have water with us as well. Water is, extremely important if you want to grow stuff, and also for
So,
us.
also for us
And
to survive. I mean, I'm drinking water while we are filming this episode, right?
yeah, so there's many benefits, and at the same time, there's many things we haven't really figured out yet. We with the ISS, we had many opportunities now to test how our organism reacts in a low gravity environment, but still we don't know 100% what happens when we have multiple generations, when people are getting conceived and born in space, or on Mars. Elon Musk wants to go to the whole SpaceX company is built on the premise that he wants to make humanity an interplanetary species. This guy has spent billions of dollars to go to Mars. So, I think there's enough evidence that we want to go. And your remark to, humanity always wanted to explore. The Vikings, they wanted to explore. Other cultures wanted to explore. That is in our blood. That's our nature. That's our nature to explore. Why do then now you can hear people, oh, why don't we explore under the like underwater? There's so many stuff we haven't explored yet. True,
But I'm
but I
sorry
tell you
if
one
I'm
thing.
sorry if I interrupt. But only because we want to do one thing doesn't mean we have no opportunity to do the other thing too, right?
Exactly.
There
Yeah.
are so many avenues, and I think I just because when we were talking about the highway to Mars, I just wanted to mention one thing that I feel sometimes it's a little bit missing in our episodes. Of course, we are not talking about something that is like happening tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It will
Sure. Yeah.
take like years, maybe decades to actually achieve that. I think, and we talked about that on screen as well as off screen. In my opinion, it's a good idea to have like on the moon a base in orbit as well as on the ground, helping us to understand a lot of things, a lot of difficulties that we face in space. And then going from the moon to Mars, like you already mentioned, we have like the ability to do so with less propellant because there is no atmosphere on the moon. If we have some sort of docking station where we have like spaceships in orbit, that also would allow us to actually launch them from orbit to the orbit of Mars, where we maybe have another space station available that is
Yep.
then having a human landing system, just to make another reference to one of our previous
Very
episodes,
good.
that then allows us to go to Mars. And don't forget, there are also other celestial bodies that might be a candidate for us to build a colony. If I'm not mistaken, one of Jupiter's moons might be a candidate where we could
Yeah.
build a base, if I'm not
It's called
mistaken.
Endor. Ah, no, that's Star Wars. Sorry.
That was with the little guys, little
Yeah,
furry
with the little
guys.
guys.
No, but I think it's Europa, right? Where
Yeah.
we have like maybe a possibility
Yeah.
to do similar things like we are planning for Mars.
Yes, absolutely. And again, when we solve all these things, Earth is also in space. We are a little spacecraft, more or less. We're not propelled really, but I guess everybody gets the point. We're a spacecraft tumbling through space, orbiting our sun. The sun is also tumbling through space. It's not a static thing not moving. It's also in fact moving. So we are all in space. So we have to solve things in space in order to solve problems here on Earth.
I think so too. And that's also one of the reasons why we started with the Econauts to bring space into
Exactly. Yeah.
your home. And if you like this episode, I hope you will leave a like always. And if you haven't already, please subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell. We would also really like to see more comments from you guys so that we know what you like and what you might want to in the next episodes. And also don't forget, we already have a little library of episodes now available. So feel free to watch and rewatch our older episodes.
Yeah, and then you can make fun of how we how we used to do this show
Yes.
in season one
Cringe.
compared to season
Cringe.
two. Cringe. All right, but I like to have some comments too. All right, I hope you like this episode, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.